Hey guys, welcome back to Prehistoric Kingdom. So, we worked on these parts on my park, and to the latest exhibit, I kinda upgraded it between episodes. I built this sort of tunnel looking viewing area for our cute little dinos. I don't know, just looked so strange, the first idea I had with the Silophysis kinda middle looking part, which we built in the last episode. So now we do have this sort of little cavern, cave looking thing, and it separates better the whole deserty and redwoodsy areas of the exhibit. So I think I'm pretty happy how it turned out. Like I said, I'm still learning how to build properly in the game, and it's a big learning curve because I never really done these sort of builds, and I hope that I get better, and maybe down the line we will come back and fix some of the base things. And yeah, this is kinda also here my first building sort of thing I try to come up with this bit of green in the middle. It's not fully done. We are going to decorate it a tiny bit more. So this is also kinda test build, and I hope that I will get better compared to what this is now. It was mostly just experiencing how things work before we get to today's build, which is going to include some sort of viewing building area thingy. So we will see how that will turn out in the end. And yeah, I did build or make some sort of park thingy here with woods, so we will make it on the other side too. Just make some road, and I'm gonna put down a bunch of trees. Well, we will come back maybe and make it a more neater looking park. But I think for the moment this can work to make it a bit more greenery. And yeah, I might get better at how I want this park thingy to look, or maybe even work some more on the main building of this thing. I think I want some extra details on this, so okay, let me try to push away a bit to make it more even-ish. I don't know. Does this work? Maybe. Okay, we do put up these stencil looking animal things, I think, as some sort of extra decorations. And a bit of green more inside. Oh, oops, that's not what I wanted. It's kinda leaning away from the wall, which is not ideal. Go back to the wall right there. Okay. Continue here. I will have to come up with more ideas for this building to make it more busy. So this is kinda sped up part of my building because it took ages until I figured out the layout of the enclosure I had in mind, and also doing some water and rock work, which is always taking some time and I enjoy it a lot actually. Been working around with the fence and the road a bunch to try to make it work. Some ideas worked better than the others, but in the end I kinda figured out what I wanted with the enclosure, and yeah, at the end of the enclosure I started to have an idea for a viewing building, which would like kind of bring the people a tiny bit closer to the animals, and its layout is not super interesting. It's more basic shapes and stuff. I also had issues with the road not being like in line with them, so it's been lots of trial and error, but I think in the end I kinda liked how it turned out. I sort of started to make the stairs, and yeah, figured out sort of how I wanted the shape of the main building. I knew I wanted like a corner section and maybe some smaller buildings that lead down into the bottom part where people get closer to some of the dinos that at this point I wasn't quite sure what I wanted, but I knew I wanted some herbivore to make them kind of live together, because it would have been it was a good idea to imagine them like roaming around in herds, and yeah, make it a tiny bit more interesting to not only see just one type of dino, but to see more living peacefully by each other's side, and just I don't know, enjoy all of these cool creatures. There was mainly one dino that I wanted for sure in this enclosure, and that was an Anky. And the others, I've been thinking hard where I wanted them. Obviously, they had to be kind of in the same climate that they could live together, and I had to kind of look at some of the coastal creatures, and I found that some of the Parasaurs would work pretty cool with the Ankys, and also one of the kind of ceratopian type of dinos, the Styracosaurus. I'm probably butchering the name very badly. Came in my mind. Nigel will bring up some fun facts about the creatures that I chose in the end. So yeah, these are the dinos that I started to form in my mind. And it kind of gave me also an option to experiment with these building techniques in the game, and to find ways to make the guests to be able to come closer to our dinos, because I wanted them to be able to come real close and experience the dinos up front. So that was an exciting challenge, and I'm kind of happy how the building turned out to be. I'm still having ideas in the end, and I definitely gonna come back to at least this part where I'm currently building, because I'm not sure if I want to leave it open to the I don't know, to the sky like that. I'm thinking about some sort of wood roof in some, I don't know, archway or not arch, but like a series of woods on top. But that will have to be between episodes, or I don't know, I might have to think about it, how I wanna work that into the build, and if it would fit at all, which I'm not quite sure, but we will experience with all sorts of things. And yeah, this part I'm kinda happy how this top viewing area turned out. I even put down some viewing devices for the guests, so they can just get a bit more encouraged to come closer and see the dinos. And I also fixed some things on the building. I also decided on this side part of the building that I want to make a bit more room for the guests, so they could maybe sit down and eat outside of the like viewing area, so they can I don't know see some cool dino action while they're, I don't know, eating their hamburger and stuff. So I put down some of these very colorful umbrella, and I also went back to put the railings down. So I definitely would love to just sit here and like do watch the dinos while I'm eating lunch. And I also had in mind to put down some more guest facilities, so they are more encouraged to sit down and actually look like they are doing that. And I still had to fix the enclosure, and I decided to just bring out more of the fence, because I wanted the dinos to be able to come up to a higher level, which in the end it was working sort of, but I did not realize that at the very edge of the map you can't really do much. You can't color the ground, so I had some issues there. It didn't turn out as good as I wanted, the floor painting, because yeah, on the raised part of the park I couldn't really do any coloring, but I think it's still. I tried to put a bunch of foliage around to hide it in the end, which you guys will see a bit later. Here is kind of where I realized I can't really do much on the top layer of the enclosure, and just still try to work out some sort of way to make the water look sort of okay on this part of the enclosure, and make sort of a river. And yeah, I really wanted also some sort of waterfall, and for the creatures now that they would be able to go up the higher layer where the park workers would come down into the enclosure. So I tried to shape the river, and decided to just continue the river up, and I will work with that thing a bit later, because we will need more water for some of the creatures that we are going to put down. And then came the favorite part, the rock work, which I tried to make some interesting-ish version. Well, at least how I think might be a bit more interesting. Not fully sure if it worked in the end, but I think I'm kinda happy with how it turned out to be in the end. So yeah, that's just learning curve, I guess, for me to see how I can make these sunken sort of buildings, enclosures work, and it's a fun part, definitely. Here I try to bring in a bit more color with different sort of rocks, and this is sort of the place I imagined the waterfall that would come, and yeah, just make the place look a bit more interesting. I kind of hope that it would look better with the waterfall, and I also wanted more different bare looking rocks around the place, so been working on that for a while. And here where the waterfall would come down, so it was definitely one of my favorite parts of the build, to focus on the rock work. And then I just started to put down all sorts of trees and bushes and foliage and everything to make it like a sort of a forest around some of the river. So yeah, I think the redwoods area is some of my favorite ones, much more in this game than actually in Ark, because yeah, we know in Ark it's kind of scary and very busy place when it comes to the creatures. And yeah, here I was realizing that okay, well, I can't really paint the top section, so I will have to make it a lot more busy with bushes and more trees, and yeah, make it like a forest, which is sadly not the right color at the ground, but that was my mistake, that I didn't know that the edge of the map is considered like a off zone. But we are learning from it, and in the future I will try to make enough space so I still have place to make it I guess pop with the colors. So yeah. The terrain paint is so, I think, gonna be one of my favorites. I'm not saying I'm good at it, definitely not, but it's just so satisfying to work around and try to, I don't know, paint, like make it into the colors that you want, and I hope I will learn eventually with time how to make everything look more interesting and more like really natural, like it would be. But I guess that will take a bit of a time and a bunch of tries and errors. And I also wanted to run down some of the trees around here to make it more busy and like foresty. And I also missed some of the rocks around here, so I will just plummet here section because I couldn't undo that like pine section where I put down the painting, but it didn't like wanted to paint it upwards, so yeah, I just decided that I wanted to hide it mostly with rocks. I also know that there's an option for me to just paint around with the foliage, and then I guess I can just randomly put them down, but I kinda enjoy just placing them myself one by one, and well, not sure if it's making it any more special, but for me it's just some of those details that I wanna focus on, and yeah, it's some fun part to just fill in the space with all these plants and make it look more interesting and busy. And as I was going around decorating, I noticed that, oops, some of our parasaurs climbing at places that I don't really want them. So, okay, I went back to fix up the height of the rocks to kind of block them away from walking around the edge. And yeah, that was a funny moment that they decided to, okay, just gonna walk there anyway. I have all of this space to roam around, but nope, I'm just climbing on the edge of this enclosure. Some of the other parts I really enjoyed is to put down all of these water plants around the rocks and the edge of the water. I don't know if I should have filled it more, the river, to look more busy at certain places. I might go back later and do that, but I think I try to make it at certain parts more heavy with foliage than some of the other, and I don't know how realistic it is, but maybe eventually I will change up some of the placements. At this point I mostly just try to enjoy and go with the flow. Finding the right kind of trees to the build and not like making it too overwhelmed, because it's kind of already getting a bunch of stuff. And yeah, although the scaling is so much fun in this game, I can make them in the size I need, so that's really a fun part of the decoration progress and the foliage and rock work. And here I sort of peeked into how the enclosure looks from the guest viewpoint. Went into the viewing area and hid the side of the ground with rocks, and wanted also to put down more donation boxes and signs about the creatures, and actually also toilet and burger place, so it would draw people in more. And I have to say, I just love the view from this point. Like, it's so fun to just look around and have the creatures. I wanted to put them, the feeding stations, around here, so the animals would come directly towards the people. So that's like intentional to draw them around here. I also wanted to make some of these buildings a tiny bit more interesting, so worked with some of the wood into this side and also some of the plants to make it a bit more wild and overgrown. This building is far from over by the end of the video, because I'm still debating if I should build more parts in the middle section or make it more overgrown on the top. I don't know, and I'm still kinda dreaming on it to figure which option for it is the best. But once I figure it out, I will show you guys the end product. Here I decided to make the floor here wood instead. I decided then to just go around and change a lot of these into wood, and yeah, it worked better. Like, it was less something that made your eyes burn out. If it kind of makes sense. I'm not sure with this stairs, but in the end I went with it to make it even with the rest. And yeah, this is some of the view from our viewpoints with our creatures on this enclosure. And I think I'm pretty happy how it turned out in the end. Down the line I might do a few more changes around the build and fix some of the issues that I'm not fully happy with. And right now I'm just I don't have the knowledge how to fix or make it look more interesting, but that's gonna hopefully change in the future. I'm just trying to think outside of the box how I usually build these zoo enclosures to make it more closer for the guests. And I hope that this is one way to start that improving progress. We will see down the line. But anyway, I think I'm going to give a few words to Nigel to kind of bring us up on some of the creatures that we added to this enclosure. So let's hear him out.
Now that, my friend, is a beautiful dinosaur. Almost like a musical instrument, Parasaurolophus used their crest for long-distance communication. There's been simulations in the past that tried to reconstruct how they could have sounded, but nothing quite compares to the real thing. They didn't use their tube-shaped crest as a snorkel, contrary to previous hypotheses. Nevertheless, I quite like the mental image of a Parasaurolophus going snorkeling. The crests are made out of bone riddled with hollow tubes, which help amplify that beautiful singing voice of theirs. You're listening to the first orchestra on Earth. With a head like that, we must be looking at Styracosaurus. The fossil record shows a bone bed of what was assumed to be a herd of these animals. But from what I've found, they're far more antisocial than expected. Perhaps a result of modern climatic conditions or irregularities in the genome. I'll leave that up for you to decide. Styracosaurus belongs to a group of ceratopsians called centrosaurines, which tend to have longer nasal horns, shorter brow horns, and spiny frills. The famous Triceratops, in contrast, belongs to the chasmosaurines, which instead favour longer brow horns and long, simple frills. The purpose of these gorgeous frills has long vexed paleontologists. Were they primarily for display, temperature regulation, or neck protection? Now that we have one in the flesh, hopefully we can solve this mystery once and for all. Ankylosaurs are built like tanks, and none of them more so than the mighty Ankylosaurus. Although the unarmoured belly of Ankylosaurus may seem like a weak point, its body is wide and low to the ground, making it very difficult to flip over should any large theropods get any bright ideas. It is massive, over 6 meters long, and has a series of bony osteoderm armour embedded in its skin like chainmail. Paleontologists have made a persuasive argument that ankylosaurs, like Ankylosaurus, use their tail clubs to fight each other, not just their predators. We'd better keep an eye on their paddock to make sure they don't pick any fights.
Well guys, I think that's it for today's episode. I'm pretty happy how it turned out in the end. Thank you guys for hanging out and see you in the next one. Bye bye!